Yo, what is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be showing you what I think the best controller settings are for Borderlands 3. Mostly, I'm going to teach you the philosophy behind making your own controller settings. I know that sounds crazy, but there's totally a philosophy behind it. For hardcore first-person shooter players, you should already know this if you're really a hardcore gamer. I'm just kidding. But anyways, let's get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and reset my own settings to default real quick. Now, I just want to say, most of you probably play on default or classic. Switch over to classic. Do not play this game on default. It's. I promise it's not as good. If you want to, if you want to change your settings and have better settings for playing, just switch to classic. I'm not going to get into too many exact reasons why, because I got a lot of explaining for all the other stuff. So let's go ahead and start. Now, I play controller on PC. This can be applied to Xbox or PS4 controllers, because I'm going to teach you a lot about why I do stuff. Now, before I tell you exactly which settings to use, the main thing you want to look out for is your movement. You want to be able to move as fluidly as possible without being obstructed by anything weird. So the first setting we're going to change is jump. Put it on R3. It's such a quality of life upgrade. Anytime I tell people to do this, they're like, "Are you serious?" But I promise, put this on R3. This way you're going to be able to jump and just do stuff without having to take your finger off the right stick. And it's basically important, I promise. So next, leave your sprint at L3. You're always sprinting in this game. You don't want to take your finger off the stick. Basically, that's the thing, is like, what is worth taking your finger off the stick? Now, when it comes to sliding, as a Zane player, sliding is really important to our playstyle. My slide is on R1. Now, I doubt anybody even does this, but this is super important. Once again, as a Zane player, since sliding is so important, you don't want to take your finger off the stick to slide. That's pretty much the explanation behind it. I hope that makes sense. I'm gonna tell you guys basically what... Now, this is what it comes down to. You have an action skill and your grenade button and your slide button. Between these three, you should have right bumper, left bumper, and circle. Now, the thing is, as a Zane player, now my first action skill, our action skills are set to grenade and your action skill button. So the thing is, my clone, usually I just put my clone out and leave him there. So it's not a big deal for me to take my finger off the stick. I'm constantly sliding during my play, like I slide way more than I use my action skill. Does that make sense? You don't have to be a Zane player to slide a lot. If you slide more than you use your action skill, then take it off of your bumper. Or like if you don't throw grenades that often, take it off of your bumper. So I hope that basically just makes sense. Basically that's what it comes down to, is whatever you don't want to take your finger off the stick for, put it on circle. So, like I said, action skill, grenades, or slide, whichever one you do the least, put that one on circle, and then put the other two on your bumpers. So, yeah. The next thing, our reload button, we're going to put it on X. Since we're not jumping with X, if you're on Xbox, this is A, I believe. So since we're not jumping with X or A anymore, you're going to want to reload with that button. Personally, I often click the reload button. This is also your primary use button. I'm pretty sure you open crates and stuff with this. So yeah, X is a great button for this, because you can take your finger off your stick to reload. Basically, like, we're not shooting while we're reloading, so I can take my finger off the stick to reload because I don't have to aim. Your aim is important. Sometimes I aim while I slide, so that's why I don't want to take my finger off of my aim while I'm sliding, if that makes sense. And that's the main theme of this video, is you want to be able to always have your right finger on the right stick, like, because that is your aiming stick. So like that's super important. But anyways, let's keep going. So besides that, I put my melee on square. It's fine to take that off aiming because usually you aim before you melee, if that makes sense. You really don't need melee on your right stick. Jumping is way better. It's just quality of life there. So next, this is why we switched over to classic. I want to say real quick, the pinging button, the mark a target. You can still do this if you hold your start button and go back here. You can still ping things to like, your friends or whatever. If you get into an online game, I can still mark things, so it's not a big deal. The thing is, it's just not an important button. I know it's really cool, but it's not worth it. What's way more worth it with the classic binds is having all of your weapons on your D-pad. This is so clutch for me. This is the reason why I say switch over to classic. If you just want to be able to do the most stuff and like play the best, please just switch over to classic. I can't stress it enough. But what it comes down to is these don't matter what these are bound to. What it really comes down to is put your most used guns on the closest slot to your stick. So if you're on PS4, in my opinion, the easiest button to click is right and down. So a Maggie is a great example. You always pull out your Maggie real quick and shoot enemies close to you, or like a shotgun. So put your Maggie and your shotgun on these two buttons. On a sniper rifle, you want it on the furthest button. Okay. So on Xbox, these are swapped. So on Xbox, your closest two buttons will be up and left because they're swapped, like obviously. So basically, that's all you need to think about when on Xbox or PS4. Just put your most used weapons on the closest buttons because you're going to swap to these often, right? But besides that, if you're on PlayStation and you play Zane, I highly suggest my exact controls right here. So you can just go ahead and copy these. If you play a different character, like I said, if you don't slide often, then leave it on circle. Like, basically, that's what it comes down to. That's the major theme of this. You don't want to take your right thumb off of your aiming button. You want to be able to aim with the most fluidity as often as possible. So like you want to be able to jump and look around. You want to be able to slide and look around. Unless you don't slide, then leave it on circle. But I hope that all makes sense. I don't use my action skill often, so it's fine putting that on circle because it's something I just kind of toss out and then, go back to my usual business after that. So yeah, I hope all that made sense for you guys. If you have any questions at all about controller settings, I'll be like super happy to answer. Comment down below. I have no problem answering every comment. You guys know that if you're one of my subscribers. But I hope this helped a lot of you. I feel like, especially playing as Zane, where sliding and movement is so important, and you have to jump to get the most damage, and you have to slide to get the most damage, stuff like that. So that was actually one reason I wanted to put this video out. So that way, like, when people, like, and that's the main reason I think people hate Zane's movement playstyle, is actually because of their controller settings. I find it really easy as a controller player to like do that sort of playstyle, and it's because of my, like, how much I value movement. So yeah, that's basically it, guys. Like I said, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a ton. I really appreciate it. You guys show me so much love already, and I appreciate all of you. But that's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, leave any questions in the comments below. And besides that, have a great day. I'm out.